DC does here. It's beautifully set up. I'm going to talk through the little details that I see, and I want to explain kind of what he's doing throughout this. It's a beautiful piece of work. So here we go. Right, DC has got, you know, head and arm over here. He's got control of the head with this arm. He has just kneed Derrick Lewis. Derrick is, for some reason, fighting the bottom arm, and he's trying to bring this hand in to fight his head out. So DC knows that once the hand fighting starts, because Derrick is based against the cage, he's based pretty hard back in this direction, that he has to bring these hands out. So how he brings those hands out is to bring Derrick to the ground. So what he's going to do is he's going to swing his hips towards the cage, which is going to draw Derrick's hips off the cage, and then he's going to make Derrick put his hands down he doesn't really snap his head down, he just kind of drags him to the floor. So if we move through this, we start to see what happens. So now we're going to see DC move his hips to the floor and tighten his grip around the head and arms. So he's torsioning in here, so he's putting his shoulder down more to this side of the neck. He's trying to get his ear on this shoulder. He's bringing the elbow back on this side under the kind of tricep area of Derrick Lewis. So what he's doing is he's kind of pulling that joint slightly up and out of socket, which kind of hyperextends the shoulder joint. The problem with the shoulder joint is when it's actually deep in joint, it's really strong. But if you move your shoulder up and then try and use it, it's not quite as strong, and really good wrestlers will use that against you. So what he's going to do is he's going to bring his hips off the cage, so he's got no more support leaning back in that direction, and he's now going to bring the center of gravity over to this end of Derrick Lewis. Now this is beautiful as well, because if he'd have brought his head down here, he would have been able to make Derrick Lewis fall through the cage. So he's brought his head down here for two reasons: to make him put this hand down first, which isn't going to support him. Secondly, because he wants to push him over in this direction. He couldn't have done that if his bum was against the cage. Now, we sadly can't see Derrick Lewis's hand, his straight arm, go to the ground here, because the wonderful referee is in the way. So we'll try and go past that a little bit. I don't want to miss the move. So, Derrick Lewis, there's a triangle of balance here. So, there's a point of balance, and the third point of balance is here. So, for Derrick Lewis not to fall on his head, he had to let go of the grip and stick that hand there. But the problem with this grip is that it's not very powerful, because this elbow is lifting this. So his elbow is facing kind of the wrong direction. You can see his palm and his fingers are facing the cage. It's not very strong to support him. So what we're going to see is Daniel move back, pull this elbow in slightly, drop this shoulder slightly, and pull him even further along the cage, which collapses that hand. Now, Derrick hasn't let go of the other hand yet. He's still fighting to try and get that grip broken. But he has to now let go, because he's falling onto his knees. He's falling onto all fours, and this hand is not supporting him. So he'll land on his elbow with his left hand, and his right hand will have to come to the ground to stop him being dragged any further, or attempt to stop him being dragged any further. So here we are. We've got him completely in a turtle position. Now, I would say most people would expect from this position for him to switch out and take the back, but I think DC has seen the slow build that Derrick Lewis has to get up. I mean, if you watch him get up, he takes his time, but there just seems to be nothing that can kind of stopping Derrick Lewis get up. So he knows that Derrick Lewis is going to take his time. So he's going to keep compressing this arm in, and he's going to allow Derrick to slowly build his base, to get one foot to the ground, and get his other foot to the ground, and with both hands on the floor, take his hips over his shoulders. Now we see DC move slightly away from the cage, because he's putting some torsion in here and he's taking the weight slightly away from the hands. Also, he's moving to his target, which is this point here. What he's waiting for now, he's waiting for the moment where Derrick is going to take his hands off and try and fight the hands again. Okay? At this point, I would kind of expect DC to drag him to the floor again, but he's obviously got a different target, because he's a much better wrestler than I'll ever be. So he's looking at his ankle pick, he's waiting for the hands to come up. He's waiting for Derrick to put both hands on the wrist of his left hand, because you're taught that you want to remove this hand from your head and pull your ear out this way, which means that Derrick is kind of moving his upper body, pivoting in this way, not only backwards, but in this direction, which is going to lighten up this leg as well. So, as Derrick puts his hands on the wrist, that's when DC makes his move. He grips the back of the wrist. Okay, he grips the back of the wrist. Notice here how he's keeping weight on the back of the head as he back of the wrist, sorry, back of the shin. The ankle, that's why it's called an ankle pick. So he grabs the back of the ankle, keeps pressure on the head, because what he's going to do, Derrick obviously is going to want to pop his head up and out. So he's going to eventually allow that head to pop out. And as he does, he's going to put his hand out into the crook, into the wrinkle line, into the fold of Derrick Lewis's thigh. And he's going to push as hard as he can with his hand as he moves forward. So he's pushing with his left hand and he's pulling with his right. He's lightened up that right foot so that he can do this. And now he pushes and he comes to standing. He's lifting the calf, lifting the ankle with both hands, because what he wants to do is he wants to run that foot over the top of Derrick Lewis's hips in order for Derrick to be stuck on his back. So Derrick is completely flat on his back. It's an absolutely beautiful bit of technique. I think DC had seen something in Derrick's slow build-up, because if you watch him stand up, he takes his time. And that little ankle snatch is obviously something he was aiming for. Takes Derrick down, and yeah, we know what happens from there. If you can add it to your game, go for it. Good luck, and thank you very much.